Welcome to the DAZN Soccer Show. I'm Adi Oladipo, joined by former Man City defender Nedum Onouha. This is where we get to know Nedum a bit more now. These first couple of questions, Nedum, I think are very tough just because of the amount of players you played with and against. But let's get stuck straight into this one. The three best players you've played with.
So this was tough, as you mentioned, because so many that I've been lucky to play with for so many different reasons. But the first one I'm going to say, David Silva. So David Silva, when he came to Man City, he's the same age as me. And here's a guy who's not tall, he's not strong, he's not fast, but can control a game, can run a game, sees things that you don't see. And the only time I've ever felt like him is now that I'm retired. I play five-a-sides with just normal people. I feel like I'm seeing things 5 seconds in advance. I'm like, is this what he felt like around other professionals? So yeah, it's got to go David Silva. Then I'm going Vincent Kompany, friend of mine. And for him, when he moved from midfielder to centre-back at City, the dominance that he then put onto that City team in that league for the next 3-4 years was incredible. You know, you just don't want to play against him. He's relentless, both on and off the field. But then best of all, you know, he helped me when I became a captain later in my career because he spoke basically every language and communicated with every single person in that dressing room. So you never felt like you were isolated. And then the last, I was caught up between this because I didn't want to make it fully City because otherwise I would have said maybe a Tevez. But instead I went for a Delta Rapt at QPR. And it's crazy because his potential was so high. But unfortunately, at that time, he didn't have the mentality he has today. And, you know, could say it's a shame. But for him, I think he's 30 years old now. He's playing in the Champions League as a defensive midfielder for Benfica. Whoever would have thought that his ability level was through the roof. So I'll say him just to make sure it's not just a fully blue show.
I'm so happy you put Tarat in there because there's sometimes I get stuck on YouTube just watching these clips for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And obviously he is Mr. The Streets Will Never Forget. Honestly, what a fantastic player. And young kids watching him for Benfica now will never understand that guy as an attacking midfielder was just scary. Honestly, I mean, there's defenders having nightmares in the Championship about him now because he absolutely destroyed players. So yeah, I'm so happy you included Tarat. All right, what about the three toughest players you played against? Now, you played against some fantastic strikers in the Premier League, so I can't wait to hear this three.
Yeah, so this one again, I could have named so many because I'm only 35, turning 36 very soon years old. So playing football in the early 2000s meant that you came across some real icons. Like I played against Shearer and the like. And then by the time I was leaving, I was seeing that next crop of players coming through. But I will have to say, first off was Rooney, like prime Rooney, Man United. You know, the prodigal son, the all-time leading goal scorer for Manchester United. I think soon to be former all-time top scorer for England. Rooney, for as good as he was technically, he was a dog. Like, he was so tough. So every time he played against him, he wasn't going to have an off day where he just go for finesse. Like, if at first, like, skill doesn't work, he'll choose violence. You know, he was incredible. So when he was that guy. And then I think the next one would be Ronaldo when he was at Man United. Like, he was a very good player when I played against him. And, you know, you thought, oh, this guy's good. But then as soon as he left, you saw, like, this guy's the guy, you know, he's him. So to play against him was special, especially to beat him as well twice, which was a true blessing because not many people have that honor. And then the last one, I was caught between Messi and Thierry Henry, but because I played against Thierry Henry in the Premier League, I got to say him because, you know, like one thing people forget when it comes down to playing football, when you're in the academy and you're in the reserves and all that stuff, you're just the same as somebody who's not because you're just watching games on TV. And I remember that Arsenal side, it was prime, they were incredible. They just been on invincibles, all that stuff. And the next thing, I was playing at Highbury, playing right back, and I had Robert Pires in front of me and Ashley Cole in front of him. And the ball got played down the channel. I said, I've got this under control. Next thing, I'm ISO 1v1 versus Thierry Henry in the corner at Highbury. I thought, oh my God, like this is the exact thing I've been watching for the last like 3-4 years. And he was incredible. The way he glides, he's so smooth. He was like an inspiration to so many players. So I'd have to say him. But to give a special mention to Messi, only played against him once and it was in like a half-friendly thing. But as he walked on the field, it's almost like he wasn't human because he had that aura around him. And there's not been many players I've come across in my career whereby when they walk onto the field, you know, you see like 70, 80,000 people just react differently. And you see the people on the field just know like the guy and the best player in the world is there. Because I hold my hand up and say this. I would never introduce myself as being a professional footballer anyway. But if someone like Messi was in the same place that I was, and somebody said, "Oh, he plays professional football," I'd say I was a plumber, because I wouldn't even want to be in the same conversation as doing anything like the same thing that he does, because he does something far different to everybody else.
What a great career you've had when you just mentioned Messi, Henry, Ronaldo, Rooney. It's incredible some of the names you just mentioned there. All right, what's your greatest achievement on a football pitch so far, would you say?
Do you know, there can be the sentimental one, or there can be the sort of like the ego one. So I remember scoring my first goal. It was a header. I think it was 3 years into my career. And I got into a point where I didn't think I was ever going to score a goal. And it was such a nice feeling that I didn't know how to celebrate. So I just ran off, just blowing kisses into the crowd. Looking back, it doesn't quite hit the same. But also, there was winning a playoff final at Wembley. And like,
Mm.
you don't know the aura of Wembley until you actually arrive there and understand like such a big game. But I think ultimately for me, it's being at QPR, being at RSL, and when I was leaving after my last games, I was having people chant my name, people give you a round of applause, people say thank you for the service you've given to them. So I think from a sense of pride, that's it, because I retired happy, because I knew it had impact every place I'd been across my 16 years as a player. So I think if I'm to be really old and soppy and sentimental, I'd probably say that, knowing that I can go to any club I've been at in the past and be more than welcome because I did a good job there.
Perfect. Honest, it's a perfect answer. All right, 16 years as a pro. You just mentioned it there. Come on, characters. You've been around some crazy characters, right? There's one that springs to mind immediately. There must be a story you've got about that one individual, Balotelli. Come, what have you got?
Mario. Like, and we forget again, when he came to England, he was 19 years old, arriving at a team with the
Yeah, it's
highest of
young.
expectations, but also a team who had 20 incredible professionals. But for Mario, it's just, here's a story for you, okay? So this
God.
was, as I say, 10 years ago, whatever it was. And this is how serious he was. And he's a different guy now. We'd be in the treatment room and we're talking about players and we're talking about Messi, talking about Ronaldo. And then Mario says, I'm better than both of them. And there's like silence, like you've just listened to here. And then there's a little chuckle. And then you look at him and he's staring you straight in the eye and he's questioning, why are you laughing? This man genuinely believed then that he's better than everyone. And that's why he
Love
carried
it.
himself the way that he did. That's why he played the way that he did. And he'll
Mm.
never change that mindset, because he knew how like these days he'll say he knew his potential was that good. But Mario was one of one. It's a shame, because I think he said his biggest regret is leaving City at that time, because he wanted to sort of be known like Aguero is now. But to name but one thing, like Mario was one of one. And in some ways I'm happy about that, because two of those would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, honestly, it's weird. You've obviously played with Tarat, who maybe didn't achieve what he should have achieved, and I think Balotelli is another one as well, who
Mm.
probably didn't go on to do what he I think could have done as well. Nedum, honestly, great to have you. Thank you so much. I look forward to you being on the DAZN Soccer Show once again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.